Hi, so I'm here for a video to talk about my journey with PTSD. And I've said that I'm going to be talking a bit about I'm looking to get EMDR therapy, so what that's kind of, entailed so far. And so if this isn't something that you're going through or that, it probably won't be that interesting. But I'll be doing some different videos as well. So, right, so just to say, the reason why I haven't said a lot, I haven't put a lot out about this particular thing with the EMDR is because firstly, we're going, it's going through the assessment process and it's really slow. Like, it's not like, so if you go for private treatment, then it's literally like you call them, you book the appointment, you go. What I'm trying to do this time, after spending a lot of money on private treatment, is actually use local services. So it's quite a slow process. So, there hasn't been much to say, but also what I found is where initially I was like, right, I'm going to be going for EMDR. We're kind of getting to a point now where it's like, is EMDR right for you? And it's like, ugh. So that's pretty much why, there hasn't been much output. So what I would say though is I went for an assessment, and it's very stressful. People don't think about what it's like for the people with the condition, but it's like I had the doctor saying, well, the psychologist, oh yeah, so you've got PTSD. Well, actually, I'm not sure if you've got PTSD. Well, actually, because you have this, but then this thing I don't recognize as PTSD. So maybe it's something else. In the end, I actually said to him, I was like, I don't care if you don't recognize my tics. Like, they're not part of PTSD. That's not one of the symptoms, but they happened at the same time as the trauma. And my experience with talking to other people with tics and my own experience of having them is that I don't really care what a psychologist says about them in terms of, oh, I don't recognize it. They are quite often people develop tics from bereavement. And what it is like, and okay, I'm not coming from a medical profession here. Okay, I'm just telling you because I live with it. And I think that the temptation to stamp on the voice of the people who actually live with something day in, day out is quite high amongst certain people. So for me, I think it's really important that you listen to the person, and so yeah, I mean, the tics developed because, I started like, I could feel this like vibration in my body. And then it got to a point where I was very like this. And to centralize it, this was literally within a week or two of trauma, to centralize it, because it came on after a few days and it's never gone, but it's calmed down. And so to centralize it, I was doing that. For me, that was also a way of telling what my anxiety levels are, because if I'm going like da, 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 they're high. If I'm kind of able to take it down a bit, I can tell. I don't know why my light's changing. Anyway, so the point is, so that's how it kind of developed. But then it developed into these tics. It kind of became incorporated with my thought processes and all my perception of space, my perception of people being close, all sorts of things, my sound perception. So if I get scared straight away, I clutch to myself, I'm down, I'm covered. I really don't care if you as a psychologist are sitting there going, well, she's got all the symptoms of PTSD, but I don't recognize tics. So let's say, we're not sure yet. Like, just go away. Anyway, so, we are having a bit of a push and pull in that sense, but I think it's important because I do actually listen as well. So, I said, look, the reason why I wanted EMDR therapy, the reasons why I thought it would be useful, I talked about my expectations. I talked about the fact that I'd already had a conversation in the past with a psychologist who said, you can't think you're going to walk in and get cured from anything. Like, hopefully it will help your symptoms. And it's like, on the one hand, that's great. And then on the one hand, it's quite disappointing because it's like, well, everyone around me expects me to just be cured. They expect me to be, told I haven't got a diagnosis anymore. So I'm going for these like therapies and these assessments and stuff, which are really, really, I mean, like they, you know, it takes me several days to recover. And it's like, I'm going through that to then be told, oh, well, you know, it may make a difference, it may not. And it's just like, oh. Anyway, I can tell you guys, you know, if you've got PTSD, what will make a really big difference in your life, and that's exercise. So I'm not just a fitness instructor trying to get people to join classes or do fitness. I worked in a gallery. I worked in an office before I got PTSD, and I am so behind fitness, and I think it's such an amazing thing for people who have got post-trauma to really be able to. So I've talked about ticks. So I'm ticking, and then I put the weights in my hand, and it gives me that pull, that, you know what I mean? So another thing I did when I started ticking is I started standing on one leg and doing things like that, because then instead of you being able to tap your feet or vibrate your legs, or you know what people do, sometimes you see people sitting there like da, 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 da. Well, you can't do that if you're putting your weight on your leg and doing a balancing move. So, you know, that's why exercise is something that I really promote, and it's such a big thing, and it's why I really would love to be training people with PTSD, because it can make such a difference to your life, you know. And like there's this thing, it just came to me earlier, I was thinking about it actually, because I was watching some music videos online of like people dancing and stuff, like, you know, like music videos, like chart stuff or whatever. And you know, I spend quite a lot of time myself. I'll have like my earphones, see, they're always right next to me, they're never far, and I'll have my music on and I'll be like dancing around, doing moves, blah blah blah. You know, ever so often I'll turn the record button on and then I'll put them on Instagram. So if you haven't seen me do any moves, then go to Instagram. and yeah, we'll see. But the point is, it just makes me feel so happy. And when I first developed, well, not when I first developed PTSD, because that's something you kind of realize you've got after, you know, say three, you know, they say 2 or 3 months, you know, where people start to rebuild and kind of like, you know, start to kind of live their life again with a bit more normality after like a traumatic event. But there's some of us who get stuck in the trauma and we're just stuck. So I was like that. And the effect it had on me, literally when it happened, like when the thing happened, was I felt like I was in a film. And I've never ever been able to get out of that. I feel like I live in a film. And I suppose what I mean by that is like, and I've said it before on other videos and stuff, but I talk so much, and I've done lots of videos now. So I hope, you know, maybe no one's heard this bit. But anyway, so it feels like being in a film, because it was like my brain kind of like would like just shift, and it was like a metal crunch. And then the thing which is reality, I could cope with it being reality on the basis that it felt like I was in a film. But at the same time, it wasn't a very nice film. It was like a horror film. And it was like, or like a soap, or like being in a soap where everything's okay, and then the next minute you get a phone call and like everything's in chaos. Or like you go to the scene and everyone's like kind of like standing around looking, and then you find out that's your family, that's their scene, that's your part of what's going on for you. That's the moment I started feeling like I lived in a film. And I suppose another thing that came with that was kind of like the polemics, I suppose, in terms of I wasn't like, it's like bad, okay, bad, okay. It was not, you know how when you're watching like things on like a drama or something, and it's really like building to this like moment, and then they're having fun, and then there's something, you know, you don't tend to watch a lot of like programs where it's like Da, 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 life is just normal. Oh, something happened. Oh, we're back to normal. The end. It's never like that. It's like up, down, right. And that's literally how it felt, or how it felt to me. And it's never kind of changed. It's calmed down a little bit, but it's never really, I still feel like I'm living in a film. So what the funny thing is that I do so much like dancing around, hopping around, doing videos, that when I put on my earphones, it's like I'm in a music video, and music videos are joyful. And so if I have to live in a film, at least I get to change the channel. And I just thought that was quite interesting. It just kind of came to me today that it's like, yeah, you live in two films now. So when it all kicked off for me, and when I developed PTSD and everything, I really tried to make myself be in a music video. I've been doing it the whole time. But obviously it was like, I was hardly contactable, but the music got to me, I could at least move to it. I wasn't smiling and stuff, but I was like feeling different. Whereas now it's like joy. It's like, wow, music, I can have my, you express yourself, body fully open. There's no holding back. And I think that's the power for some of us when we go through post-trauma, so obviously there's so many sensitivities, but they're like your actual self, who you are. Because I mean, for me anyway, I can't deal with other people's restrictions anymore, negativities. If someone's trying to tell me no, I'm just like, you stand there and say no. I'm going to go over there and experiment and find out if I can make it happen, and I'm pretty sure I will. I don't listen to the no and go, oh, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe. I listen to the no and I say, right, is there some constructive criticism in that no? Let me do some learning. Let me find out if there's anything else I want to do before I essentially go off and do this activity, which is going to happen. So, and I think that having that post-trauma reaction, oh my gosh, like there's no music in my earphone. Well, it's quite comfortable though. But having that post-trauma reaction has literally like made like my self-expression go and I just like, what's the point in being embarrassed? Like, just get on with it, you know what I mean? It's funny because I was in a group the other day and we were talking, and the one of the person leading the group said, right guys, stand up, it was an exercise group, like we're fitness instructors, looking at some techniques and talking about research and stuff. It was really, really fun actually. And so one of the ladies said, right, get up, stand up, we're going to do this position so we can see, how you get into that position, etc, etc. And I just sprung up. I was like, yeah. And then someone else said, oh no, I get a bit shy. And I was just like, how do you teach exercise then? Because we are inviting people to look at us and copy, either, to look at our form and like say, right. So for me, when I teach dance, I'm like, right, look at me, look, I've got my arm up here, now I've got this arm up, now they're coming down. And then once you've got that routine too, you don't need to look at me at all. But it was just this funny thing, and she was quite shy, and the lady said, oh well, people do get shy on camera, what about you, Katie? And I was like, I'm not shy, I don't care. She's like, okay. And I went, no, but I don't. I was like, you know what, I tick in front of people, I've had panic attacks in front of people, like I go through so much stuff in front of people that I would never have wanted them to see, but I can't control them seeing it. So to stand up and just do like, just do a squat move and just show you my positioning, like that's fun. It's not fun having a panic attack. So you know what I mean? So it gives you a really interesting and good perspective. I'm not really talking about the therapy, am I? I think what I'm kind of saying is I've got another assessment. Well, I had an assessment, and then I'm meeting the doctor again, like in another week or so, like online this time, because it was a lot for me, like to go and in person, but it's good to meet someone in person at least once. But then he was like, do you want to come and see me again? I was like, no, you just send me a Zoom link. I don't want to. So we're going to talk online. And so I suppose I should be able to tell you more then. But essentially where we've got to so far is he said, he's an EMDR therapist, and he said he'd be, he's not sure, that he thinks EMDR might be a bit aggressive for me, a bit intense. And I'm just like, what? Like, he was like, it might just be a bit intense. He says, I think there's things bubbling under the surface that, that we need to explore. It's not like just one event and we'll take care of that. There's also this element of like things bubbling. So I don't know why my camera is doing that, by the way. I'm so sorry about this light, but I don't see the point. I'm going to carry on, because I feel like if this is in any way informative to someone else with PTSD, or if it's just interesting to hear someone else has got it too, then I'm like, well, I'm not going to just fuss around. And it is driving me crazy though. Oh, I'm so sorry. Anyway, I'm just about to finish. But what I'd say is, so he's talking about narrative therapy at the moment. I'm still like, thinking I still want to consider EMDR. And so, the next time I meet him, he wants to talk about making a plan, plan for recovery and stuff. So I'll probably know more then. So for now, I think I'll just leave it there. And yeah, if you're going through any therapy, or if you're trying to get hold of therapy, keep going. It's really worth it. So I've actually had a therapist in doing psychoanalysis for like 4 years. And while it's not, that's not intensive enough for the PTSD issues that I have, it has been a huge help. Like, if I didn't have it, I really don't know where I'd be. So I think it is really important to have a counsellor or a therapist, or someone you can talk to. And the reason why I say someone like that as opposed to just a mate is because you need someone who can actually sit there and let you talk. And in terms of non-judgment, I mean, you need to be able to express yourself, and you don't want to say something and then someone else hear it wrong, or because they're too emotionally close to you, or to take it personally. I mean, my therapist is blank canvas. As I know she's got a husband. That's it. I know she lives in a house because I sat on her couch. That's all I know about. I know she collects rocks from the beach because I've seen her rocks and I touched them, because I collect rocks too. What else do I know about her? I know she's got a cushion which is orange and pink, and it's got like these like sequins on it and these bits hanging off it. So she's obviously quite, she's got a colourful rug and stuff. It's like red, so I think she quite likes these colours, bright colours. But then she's got the wooden floor, and then the walls are quite a plain colour actually. Like, they weren't like bright or anything. They were like a white wall. Anyway, that's all I know about her. So I don't know what she likes eating, or I don't know what her philosophies are on life. I don't know what her political views are. I have no idea. So, and I think that's what's really important. And if I say to her, this really upset me, it's not like she's like, wow, you're talking about your, someone in your family, or you're talking about someone I know and I'm upset. She's literally just like, tell me. So I think that's really great. And they don't interrupt you. I mean, some do, but not mine, because I've got a louder voice than her, and I need to talk. So I think that's what's been a massive thing for me. I don't need someone to sit there and go, you need to do this, you need to do that, try this, try that. It actually pisses me off. Ooh. I just need to express myself, you know what I mean, and have someone listen and give me some guidance. But and when I'm being bad, or when I'm being just I like, she'll say to me, now Katie, come on, and I'm like, okay, yeah. But I don't need someone to be that interfering with me, you know what I mean? It's just more about self-expression. And I think that's what it is for a lot of people with trauma. Like, at some point you've gone through something which has kind of stopped you connecting with the world and connecting with other people quite in the same way. You feel a little bit displaced, and you tend to retreat, you tend to go in. That's why a lot of people who have these experiences end up in creative arts, end up being artists and designers and stuff, because it's a way of expressing those emotions and those experiences without having to speak, and without having to like effectively start talking and potentially the whole house of cards falling down. But I'm my gosh, I go on. It's just, this is what it's like. And you have a very distracted mind with PTSD as well. So I'm going to shut my mind down for a bit now and have a rest. um, but anyway, I'll let you know if anything interesting happens in the world of therapy and assessments. And until then, I hope to see you for a video on something completely different. All right, then, take care of yourself. Bye.